So, hello everyone. Today we have another beautiful Black woman in business joining us today, and I'm going to begin with allowing her to introduce herself and introduce her business to us. Go ahead.
All right. Well, thank you for having me. Great to be here. My name is Tanisha Townsend, and my business is Girl Meets Black. And what that is I like to call it a lifestyle agency, but focused on wine. So, how to drink wine, you do wine tastings, wine and food pairings, wine tours. I have a podcast, I do some writing, but all about getting people to make wine more a part of their lifestyle and just enjoy it better.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. I find that so interesting because, you can go to a restaurant and see an extensive wine list and not even know where to start.
Mhm.
So I find it great
They can
that
be very intimidating for sure.
yes, yes. So I find it greatly interesting that you took that concept and you created from it a business, a way of engaging. So tell us a little bit about your business journey. How did you go from the concept of this is something that I think other people want to experience and want more information on to this is going to be a business?
It started, I don't like to say by accident because nothing happens by accident. Everything kind of happens by design. But it was just a matter of me kind of head down and doing what I enjoyed doing. And in that, things just kept happening for me. So I was into wine, very interested in wine. And so when I moved to where I am now, when I would tell people, it was like, oh, well, why are you here? What do you do? And then when I would tell them, they're like, oh, well, I like wine. Can you help me pick out wine? So from there, I thought so many people need help picking out wine. Let me just start going to a wine shop or going to the grocery store with people to help me pick out wine. And I thought maybe other people want this. So maybe we can do wine tastings at wine bars in the city. Excuse me. So then I started doing that. Then when I would do that and post on social media, then people got interested and people would send me messages and they'd want to come to tasting. Then I was featured on podcasts like I am today and different things like that. And so then people would just contact me and then it became a business of me doing these tours, doing these wine tastings. So people request them, people bring groups over to the city, and then I will do a wine tasting for them. Or people are in town and they're like, hey, I'm in town. Do you have any time? Can you do a wine tasting for us? Sure, I can. Let's look at the calendar. Let's get something booked. And so that's just, sometimes it's just a matter of like some people actually know exactly what they want to do and they
Uh-huh.
head down and they get after it. For
Yes.
me in the beginning, I didn't know what this could be because no one could have told me like, oh no, you can make a career out of wine. Always thought when it came to wine, you either sell it at a retail location, you make it as a winemaker in a vineyard, or third, you're a sommelier and you serve it in a restaurant. I had no desire to do any of those things.
Uh-huh.
But to fast forward to today and what I've been able to do with it, I just never even knew this existed. So it was really just a matter of the more I just had my head down, would study, would talk to people. Networking has been huge for me. Um, yeah, I know that was like a real roundabout way to answer your question,
No.
but I hope that made sense to your listeners.
No, it does. It does because you kind of took us through your journey of and that's how a lot of creative ideals work. It starts with you just taking the first step to do one thing. And then as you said, there are no, coincidences. Everything else just follows and flows. And I think one of the key takeaways here is that you went with the flow of it, right? So initially you didn't you it wasn't your intent to make it a business, but as things unfolded, you just kept going with the flow, with the flow, with the flow, and it turned into a business. So you found yourself doing what you enjoyed doing and found that it was of value to others, and you just kept along in that lane, and it developed into something beautiful. So yeah, that was a great you really laid it out for us there. So where do most of your customers come from
As far as how do they find me?
as far as location? Where
Or
are most of your customers?
oh, they're American, so they come all over the state.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, great. So when you went from just starting to do this a little here and there and it growing, how did your process of developing this into a full business come about? Like, did you end up writing a business plan? Did you end up setting up a LLC, or what was the different foundation that you found yourself putting in place for it?
So for this part, this is I'm a cautionary tale. Like, don't do what I did. There was never in the beginning there wasn't a business plan
Uh-huh.
because I would like have an idea of what I wanted to do and how I saw things. But then something would happen that would be so amazing and so like beyond what I could have thought. I'm like, well, let me stop limiting myself with this little, like, oh, I would like to have 5 clients next month. And then
Right.
God would be like, oh, okay, so here's 15. Or like, oh, I'm going to have you speak on this stage. So I'm like, man, let me stop lowballing it and telling him what I think I want and just be like, you know what? Just
Um,
do with me what you will. I am
yes.
going to focus on my work and then you handle the rest.
Yes.
So now I am, and by now I mean literally now, I am writing out things that I'd like to achieve, the direction that I see myself going in. As far as setting it up uh, legally and how that works, all that is just setting it up under my name. So I'm
Okay.
just able to do that and have this entrepreneurship. I have an entrepreneur visa. And so it's just set up under my name and then under the context of what I'm working on, which I did it as higher level of education because I'm also a professor and teach at a university. So just did that, and then everything else can fall underneath that.
Okay, wonderful. And how many years have you been doing this? Has this been developing for you?
So developed before I moved here, and I don't think I said this. I live in Paris, France. I don't think we
Okay.
went over that part,
Right.
but I live in Paris, France, so I'm able to do that here. So it's not like I'm in, Chicago where I'm from doing this kind of thing. So
Gotcha.
getting into wine here from a availability and accessibility standpoint is just amazing. But as far as wait, and tell me your question again. I'm so sorry.
How long have you been doing this?
So I've been doing this before I moved here. I got into wine when I lived in DC. And
Okay.
so maybe like, and I hate to date myself, but maybe like 15, 17 years now.
Okay. All right.
I've been
Wonderful.
doing it. Yeah, that
Wonderful.
sounds about right.
Yes. And it's nice to hear that you're in Paris, France. I would think that you would
Yeah.
be like
Just
in,
finished up with the Olympics and had the time of my life. Woo.
good for you. Good for you. So, and your business journey, what would you say has surprised you the most?
That I could actually do it. It's not something. I never thought I would be an entrepreneur. I never wanted to go into business for myself. I never wanted to do that. I was always someone that was like, you know what, let me go to my 9 to 5, plus my little clock, go home, make all the money, go buy my stuff, drive a nice car, had a cute little condo with all the latest furniture and clothes and
Mhm.
purses hanging up in the closet. That is what I wanted for my life. But to become an entrepreneur, um, yeah, it's nothing I desired, and so I didn't think I could do it.
Got it.
But to have done it and then in another country, like I'm still kind of amazed when I look back at what I've accomplished.
Mm, wonderful. That is amazing. And I love that your journey didn't start out with the intent to be an entrepreneur. You know, it's kind of something that you grew into. And a lot of people I find are, when they get those nudges that you experience, they don't listen as clearly as you did. You know, they think, well, that's not something I want to do. And they either they're afraid to get started because they feel they don't know enough, or they're just so unsure of themselves that they don't take a step forward. So it's very enlightening to hear your story and how you just took one step after the other. It wasn't a some big plan you had put together beforehand. You know, you utilized a lot of trust and faith in your journey, is what I'm hearing, which is what we all have to
Absolutely.
learn to do.
We we definitely do. And I do also understand that there is a certain privilege that I had in being able to do that. Um, wasn't married, did not have any to try anything. Whereas someone who is married has a couple kids or one kid or a pet or some plant, they can't do this kind of. I also I also have very supportive parents and family. So if it all
Wonderful.
fell apart, I always knew I could go home. I can always be like, you know what, this is terrible, and I'm going to Chicago. Forget it. I'm done. I always knew I could do that, but I never had to. Now there were some times where I got, a little sketch, and I was like, man, listen, this is ridiculous. Why am I living this way? What? And then something will happen. It would just be like a little glimmer of a, something happening, and that would make me be like, okay, fine. This is like a little sliver of hope. Let me just go ahead
Right.
and go with this, and then keep moving. But yeah,
Yeah, let's
everyone
step
doesn't have the luxury or privilege. So yeah.
right, right. So let's delve into that a little because all of us, you know, we come across things or we have those days or weeks where we think, why am I even trying to do this? Why did I think this was a good idea? Or I'm just tired and burnt out. I don't know if I want to continue. So, in those moments, what is it that keeps you going?
Um, uh, I have a couple of friends that I can call to give me, like a little pep talk or a little cheer. Prayer works.
Mm,
Not to be all deep and be like Jesus, Jesus, but like prayer or for others, whatever you need to do to ground yourself, whoever you talk to, or whatever, that definitely helps. Um, Also, not being so hard on yourself because you can't see what's happening in front of you. I don't always say look back, but sometimes you need to look back at where you came from and look
mm,
at what you have done and what you have accomplished and think like, okay, I can't stop now. Look at what I've done. Like I have done things. It's not like I've been standing still. Like you have been moving. So remember that, and then that helps you, keep going forward. Because you never know what when is the end, and that was something that I think really kept me. Like, just think if you were running a race and it's 15 miles and you're like, oh, I'm tired. At mile 10, like, okay, push a little bit. But man, I'm tired and I quit. I'm at mile 14.9. Like, come on, I'm right there. Like, I can't see the end, but like, it's literally right there, like around the corner. I'd be so mad.
yes, I love that because you're right. We never know how. It always helps. Two things you say. It always helps to look back.
Yeah.
It always helps to look back and see how far you've come because a lot of times we're so busy moving forward, you know, trying to conquer the next thing that we don't pause to congratulate ourselves for what we've accomplished. You know, one of the things you mentioned was saying that you want 5 clients and then you get 15 and then you get an invitation to speak on a huge stage, right? So that might have been an experience you had never envisioned, but you did it, you were successful. And it's very important to pause and say, wow, I did, I wasn't even thinking that that was something I would ever do, but I did it, I accomplished it. So that is just awesome. um, what would you say has been your biggest challenge when you look at your journey in your business so far? What has been your biggest challenge and how have you overcome it? Because I find a lot of times that most of our challenges tend to be in the area of personal growth, It's something that we have to expand ourselves to be able to accept the greatness, of what we're doing for that to grow. So I just want to hear from you. What do you see or feel has been your greatest challenge, and how did you handle
So mine is kind of two, but then they're kind of like together. So I mentioned before, I'm an expat. I live in another country where they
it?
speak another language and there is a different culture. So learning the language, because I did not speak French when I got,
Yeah. Okay.
learning the language and also adapting to the culture. And to say, oh, well, I don't have to adapt. I'm just going to come over and be my whole American self. That will never work here. Maybe in some other countries who, just absolutely love America and want to be American themselves, that doesn't work here. So I had to figure out what the culture was. Like that's nothing you can necessarily research. It's something you just have to be a part of. And then also learn the language. So that was the hardest thing. How did I overcome that? I just allowed myself to be uncomfortable. So
Um,
I put myself in or accepted uncomfortable situations. I would go to conferences or seminars that were totally in French,
mm,
knowing I understood maybe 40% of what was happening. And then they would do a little breakout session, like, okay, everyone, introduce yourself. I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta speak. So I got to get on Google Translate, put my little words in, let it translate it, listen in the headphones and make sure I'm pronouncing stuff right. So went through all of that. Now I'm good. I still get, after so long of speaking French, like I get exhausted. Like you're not gonna talk to me in French for an hour, like directly to me. Like, no, we're not doing it. You got 30 minutes and then I'm tired of trying to come up with things to say and translate it in my head. I can't. But being comfortable with being uncomfortable is
mm,
definitely something that I had to do to overcome the
mm.
problems of building a business in another country, in another different culture.
Wonderful, wonderful. That's a very good lesson. Being comfortable, being uncomfortable. There was a time when that was a concept that I really had a hard time understanding. Like I would hear people say, I stay uncomfortable. And then I
Mm-hmm.
realized the point was it kind of goes hand in hand when people say you need to get out your comfort zone, because we're so
Yeah.
used to limiting ourselves to the things that feel okay, already okay to us. This feels okay. This feels safe. This is what I've been doing. Let me just stay here. And trying to go anywhere beyond that doesn't feel as good. So we just come right back to that comfort zone. But beyond that is your
Mm-hmm.
growth. That's your growth arena. That's where you grow. That's where you do more. So either you want to just stay the same in that safeness, or you want to grow and get better and do more and have more. And most likely, most of the time, that's where your happiness really is too, because where you
Mm-hmm.
are is really not full of your happiness. So it takes getting uncomfortable and being comfortable being uncomfortable, just knowing it's going to be uncomfortable. I'm
Yeah.
still going to do it anyway.
Yeah. And that's something I definitely had to learn because I had a job before working in corporate America back when I lived in the States. And, would go to work, get my check, make my money, take my little 2 weeks of vacation a year, and have a grand time with that. I was miserable. I did not like that job. I did not like the people I worked with. The last job I had, like all those people, like despise. It's a strong word, but it's how I felt. So there's that. But it was nothing I was ever gonna leave because once that every time I'm like, I would quit. I hate it here. And then Friday would come and then ding ding. And I would check my bank account and that check cleared. And I'm like, well, guess I'll stay in another week. Like I'm okay because I'm getting a salary. I made the money. So we're gonna stay here. I was comfortable with the salary. So I put up with all of the other
Mm,
things. I also didn't think that it would it could be different. I just thought like, all right, well, I'm working here to make the money to give me the things that actually bring me joy. I don't have an expectation of joy in my job. And
mm,
I felt like that was okay. because I mean, you don't have to like your job. Like they don't, they don't have to like us. We don't have to like them. Just
Mm-hmm.
make sure you pay me on time.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's all I was concerned with. So thinking like that, I would have never like it took me not having that job anymore to be open for the opportunity to do
Mm.
something else, to try another career, to have another path, and to think about what was actually important to me. Is
Mm.
making a whole bunch of money important? I mean, it is nice when it happens, but that is not my focus. Like, I want to be happy in my life. Friends
Mm.
tell me I work too much, but like, I don't. I love my life, and I don't feel the need to take a vacation from it. I love the work I do. So people, I'll take a vacation, take some time off. I'm like, okay, I'll take today off, but then I'll be back working tomorrow. Like, because I enjoy it. It's not a
Mm.
problem for me. Work is fun. I take people wine tasting. Like, come on. Why would I not want to keep doing
Ah, I love that. I love everything you just shared with us. It's so true that so many of us settle for working a job that doesn't bring us joy, but brings us the funds, to pay the bills.
that?
Um,
Or to get joy from the money and do something that we like with the money we make from said job that brought us absolutely zero joy.
right, right. But to your point, just in comparing your experience from the hours we put in at work 5 days a week, your whole day is gone doing that, right? You have the weekend, you take your 2 weeks vacation. So your joy is your weekend and your vacation time versus having a business or doing something that brings you joy every day. So yeah, every day is joy, and you enjoy it so much that it doesn't feel like work, right? That
Mm-hmm.
a a vacation is like I'm fine doing this. I'm enjoying this so much. I don't feel like, and I've seen the saying, and you've probably seen it too. Live the life that you don't need to take a vacation from.
That's it.
That's what you have. You are living the life
Mm-hmm.
that you don't need to take a vacation to feel joy and feel free. What you're doing feeds that into you. And
Mm-hmm.
that is, oh, that's just amazing. That is so unique. And it's just so wonderful to hear that someone has that. Someone has what they do every day. It's so wonderful. They don't feel like they need to get away from it to feel relief or to feel happy. And that should be the goal. It should be that what you put most of your life energy into, it should be your source of joy, not your weekend thing, not your 2 week vacation thing. It should be your everyday thing. So, and I think that's what we're all trying to get to be able to do that every day. So beautiful, beautiful. So, in your business journey, what resources would you say have helped you the most?
Short of the internet, because the internet has been amazing. Um, what resources? I think, is networking a resource or conferences?
Yes, yes, it is.
Yeah, those like going to conferences, just showing up, like not knowing people at conferences, but the conference being relevant to my industry, but just
Uh-huh.
going there and then talking to everybody. At this, I had nothing to lose. I'm like, I don't know anyone in this city, this country, so let me go to the conference. When I first moved here, I think I lived here for 4 days, and then I went off to a wine conference. And I met some people there who became amazing resources, great friends, excellent connections, and stayed in contact with them for years. But I would definitely say attending conferences, seminars, and things like that in your genre or your subject matter, and really one learning from the conference subject, but then also really networking. And when I say networking,
Mm-hmm.
this too, when I first started going to conferences and would meet people and network, I just wanted to meet people. I just wanted to talk to people. I just wanted to know what they were doing. I just wanted to hear from them. and just wanted to talk and just connect, talk to other humans.
Right.
I wasn't asking them for anything. It wasn't like, oh, okay, put me in contact with this person, or do you want to buy my product or anything like that. So later, when I did have something to sell or I did have a service to provide, they were all in to help me and promote it or share a post or do a collaboration because we
Oh.
had already built up a rapport and a relationship.
Mm.
So I would definitely say with networking, be mindful of like not meeting somebody for the first time and then going with the hard ask in an email
Uh,
or,
mm,
in a LinkedIn message. Like
mm.
build a relationship first. I'm very big on building relationships. And people around me will absolutely say that. They'll be like, oh yeah, one, Tanisha will talk to anybody. Two, she builds a relationship. She like enjoys talking to you. She enjoys talking to people and wants to build a relationship, wants to continue talking to you, wants to hang out, wants to go get a coffee, wants to go get a glass of wine on the weekend, you know, that kind of thing. Sometimes I do that too much and I have work to do. So, I mean, right now it's fine. It's the summer. Enjoy.
Wonderful, wonderful. That's a great tip because usually in networking, we are told to focus on making the connection, but not building a relationship, like making the connection and trading information, contact information, but not building a relationship for the long term, right?
Yeah.
So that was great, great advice, great information. So, have you had any mentors during your journey?
A lot of unofficial ones, yes. So there's never been an official formal, you are my mentor, we are doing this, but a lot of unofficial mentors that I can send a quick email or send a text message like, hey, what do you think about this? Or can we hop on a call right quick? Or can we just check in? That have helped me tremendously. Yeah. So even if it's not, and I want to say this too, even if it's not official, like formal mentorship, I think a
Right,
lot of mentors come into your life kind of unofficially. I
right,
think they're just people that you can count on, you can depend on, that if you have a question or you want to run something by someone, you can do that and they are okay with that. Not this full formal sit down, let's have these
right.
touch points and we're going to talk about this and take notes. No, it doesn't have to be like that. So don't
Got it.
just look for that. Look
Mhm.
also for a person that you just kind of connect with and you feel like you can build a rapport. You can talk to them and then they can also talk to you. It shouldn't just be one way.
Got it, got it. And that goes back to building those relationships, right? As opposed to just making contacts. Through
Absolutely.
those relationships, you find that experience where you can share information, get knowledge, be able to dial someone up for a quick question and answer. Very good. What would you say that there was, thinking about your youth, would you say there was anything in your youth that informed what you're doing now, or the type of person you are being present in what you're doing now?
Say that one more time because our connection was getting a little shaky
Okay.
on
So
this part of it.
thinking about your younger self, would you say there's anything particularly in your childhood or about your childhood that informs what you're doing now or how you're doing it?
I think maybe in my childhood, what kind of helps what I'm doing now is having a very strong family bond and knowing that my family will support me no matter what. So no matter what I wanted to try or how high I wanted to climb up this mountain or jump out of a plane or like whatever, I know my family was going to be there with a safety net, with a parachute or jumping after me. Things like that. Like I never had this fear of like, okay, if I fall, if I fail, it's all over. Forget it. I can never come back. That was
Hmm.
never a thought. That was never a thought in my head.
Okay, that's beautiful. And is your family in the U.S.?
Yes, they're in Chicago.
Okay. So how long
Mhm.
have you been in Paris?
This October will be 10 years.
Oh, wow. And what initially brought you to Paris?
What brought me to Paris during a conference that I was speaking at, I met a woman there, and then we, connected and we stayed in contact. And she sent me an email one day, and she said, "Hey, I can't teach my classes. Do you want to come over and do it? I know you have some experience with that. Come over. Remember, I'm in Paris." And I'm like, had I known it was going to be this important, I would have saved the email. Like, I don't even think I still have that email. I've tried to
Uh,
find it. It does not exist in my inbox, which is sad. But yeah, she said that, and I ended up talking. Long story shorter, she connected me with the director of the school, talked with the director, worked some things out, and then they're like, "All right, so yeah, it's all approved. You are coming over to teach this class." And so I taught two classes: luxury wine and spirits, and then wine science and European wine. So wine science and European wines was the art of winemaking and wine tasting for European wine, everything that was in France, because you can't talk to French people about French wine, not my American stuff. They not go home. So talk to them about wines of Austria and Portugal and Spain. So I did
uh,
that.
wow. So it started with you coming there to teach a class,
Mm-hmm.
and then you decided to stay.
Then I decided to stay. Yeah, it was an amazing 3 months. Like
Oh, it was a
I,
3 month, three
the
month teaching.
create, yeah, it was just 3 months when I initially came here. Just 3 months, and just the people I met, the creativity I felt. I just felt so free, and so I felt light. Light. So after those 3 months, I had to go back to the States. And I'm like, all right, let's figure the visa situation out. So figured the visa situation out after about maybe 5 or 6 months, and then came on back. Yeah, I left here in May of 2014, and then I came back in October.
Okay, wonderful. So when you came back, did you continue with teaching or had you started your
Yeah.
business?
So that's the thing that was crazy when I came back. I didn't have a job. I wasn't teaching at that school. I started answering my email. I went up to the school, and the director wouldn't even come out and talk to me. She just had the secretary talk to me. I started tutoring a couple of people in English because at the time I spoke English well. The better my French gets, the worse my English is, which is unfortunate. So I was just teaching English, and I was on a student visa, and so I could work on a few language schools, and so that's the work I did. And then I was figuring out the wine thing. So I think maybe after the first year, that's when I started doing wine tastings for friends, doing a couple of wine tours around different bars in the city, and helping people buy wine at their wine shop or grocery store.
Ah, wonderful. So of all the services you provide, which one brings you the most joy? Which one is your favorite?
Probably going to the wine bars because I mean it's just fun to see how people um, how people think about wine and to
Uh-huh.
see them in a different environment with wine. For them to just be fully like, okay, Tanisha, I'm in your hands. Whatever you tell me, that's what I'm going to drink. And I won't tell them the wine that we're drinking in the beginning. So they're just using their senses. What does this smell like? What does this taste like? And then to see them in the middle of these French wine bars and how they're reacting to the people and the wines they get to taste and the cheese and all of that, that is just so much fun for me. It's always some like light bulb or some moment where they're like, oh, I didn't know this. Or like, oh, this is so cool. Or, oh, wow, what a cool experience. Something like that.
Ah, nice, nice, nice. It sounds wonderful. I'm just thinking of so many different ways that your gift would be very useful at any type of event where people are trying to figure out, what should I serve, or what should I get, or what should I buy, for a gift for this person. Do you have a favorite wine?
Uh, it changes. I will say right now, since it is still warm, not too cool. It's still a white wine, but a fuller white wine. So I'll say Chenin Blanc from the Loire Valley for right now. It's a white wine. Chenin Blanc is a sweeter style grape. So
Uh-huh,
similar in sweetness, like a little less sweet than say a Riesling, which
uh-huh,
more people are probably familiar with. But I really enjoy Chenin Blanc because it has this great acidity. It has the fresh, crisp flavors. Think like tart green apple, think hints of like peach and apricot, and also has this nice, it can have this nice full mouthfeel,
uh-huh.
and it goes really well with food. So think it can go well with spicy food, or if you're just eating, like a salad or like roasted chicken or your cheese pizza, you can do it with that. A burger, like I eat it with anything, but some people are more particular.
Wonderful. So do you have any opinion on the health benefits of wine?
This one is tough because there's this whole movement of non-alcohol, low alcohol, and people saying that all alcohol is bad for you, no matter what the quantity. And I feel like so many people look at drinking in such absolutes. It's like I'm not going to drink anything, or I drink too much. Like, yes, I wanted to get my clarity back, and I couldn't focus when I had wine, or I couldn't focus when I was drinking. I'm like, well, how much did you drink? Like, I know for an evening, yes, if I'm out with friends, I will have a few glasses, or we may split a bottle, but I'm not getting drunk. I also drink slower because I have an appreciation for the beverage. So, like, I'm
Uh,
not drinking anything cheap at this point.
right.
If I'm drinking at home, I will pour myself a glass of wine to go with dinner. It's amazing. But when it comes to health benefits, I don't look at it like it's any more dangerous than me eating a whole cake to myself or eating a whole sleeve of Oreos. Like
Hmm.
I look at it like that. In moderation, everything is okay. If I eat
Hmm.
two Oreos, I'm fine. If I eat the whole row, like, okay, what's that? They say for every study that says wine is good for you and good for your heart, there is another study that says, oh, well, no, it's not. It causes
Mm,
this, it causes that. So I think you just have to decide what your thing is going to be. Is it going to be cookies, cake, ice cream, wine? Like pick your thing and then
right.
let that be that.
Got you. Got you. That's a very good point. That's a very good point. When you think about your business, what has been an experience? Because a lot of times we, as entrepreneurs, and with the challenges we face, or even the opportunities that come our way, there can be an element of fear, and sometimes we can allow that to stop us. What has been your one of your biggest fears you've had to overcome in your business?
Fear being embarrassed, fear of standing in front of someone and not saying the right words or not being able to express myself in a certain way or saying the wrong thing whenever I need to not introduce myself, like I got that on lock, like I know me. But when I'm introducing my subject matter or getting about the stuff on a stage or I'm at a network event and I'm talking to someone, whether I'm doing it in French or English, it's just, when you meet people, you want them to see the best of you. And
Uh-huh.
that always makes me a little nervous because it's just like, man, I know who I am and what I provide and what I can do. And like, I just hope that comes across.
Mm, got you. Got you. Wonderful. Wonderful. So looking at your, I know how much you enjoy what you do every day, but what do you do when there are those times when you need to take care of you, when you need to um, indulge in or plan some self-care for just a mental break or for spiritual growth? What are a few of your go-tos in that area?
Take a walk, get out, see some sunlight, see, the sun, if it comes out, it can be great here. There are some canals in the city, so walk along the canal and just, look at people, maybe sit outside and have a coffee. So that helps just even getting that, that outside air that,
Yes,
not the stifling air that's inside of the office or in your apartment. So just getting that is helpful. And the other thing, so great. I really enjoy Netflix. Netflix is for me, okay? I am always on some series or watching some movie, and like it is my escape. I know some people have books and like I read too, but Netflix just I am escape. I escape into Netflix, and I love that for me.
Okay. What is your latest escape on Netflix?
My latest escape, I am watching. It was a series that was on. I think it's still on BT called Family Business with Ernie
Okay.
Hudson and all that. It's from the book that Carl Weber wrote. I
Yes.
just started that. Yeah,
Okay.
I just started that, and so I'm all in.
Okay. Yeah, I think that one has a couple of seasons too, so it'll keep you busy for a while. Who would you say was the most
Yep.
influential person? Who was the most influential person for you growing up?
Probably my dad. Yeah, my dad. I was able to see faith and spirituality from him. I was also able to see what happens when you work towards it. I understood the value of working hard, um, but also not being taken advantage of. Um, I saw a provider, how he provided for me and my brother, and how he was there to support us, whatever we wanted, whatever we needed when it came to different activities we were in our youth, or even driving us to college when we went, and driving to college to pick us up and bring us back home, like for visits and that kind of thing. Yeah,
Get
that was
that.
probably my dad was like my biggest cheerleader. Now, I tell him what I do and he doesn't understand it. He's like, okay, we drink wine and talk about it. Like I don't get it. But he's still like, yay, if you love it.
What type of work did he do or does he do?
My dad was he's been retired at this point, but he was a teacher and then retired as a principal. So all
Okay.
in education.
Okay. Very nice. Very nice. So, in doing what you do, what do you feel is your most valuable quality?
I can talk to anybody. And I think that's very helpful in meeting tourists or just meeting different people from different places and different walks of life. Whether I'm meeting someone here that works in a winery, whether I'm meeting a tourist that has come over and is their first time in the city, and I'm introducing them to the wine culture or just the food culture, being able to find some point of connection with us so that our conversation will be better, to make them feel at ease, that kind of thing. I would definitely say that is one of my superpowers that I did not know I had. So it might be new. It might be a new superpower. I would prefer to be able to be invisible sometimes and walk through walls, but for now we will settle. We will settle for being able to talk to anybody.
Oh, I love you. Tell me something you've learned from. I know you said you've learned so much from your dad, but
Mm-hmm.
is there anything else you've learned recently? I would say from someone who's older that has either surprised you or helped you a lot?
Mm, I don't know if this person is older, but learning, well, not learned because it is definitely a process of focus. I have a colleague who is so laser focused on things. When they have a project that they are working on, whether it is something that they're writing or a video that they're curating, they are laser focused. Like that's all they're doing. Nothing else matters. They're not going out with their friends. They're not responding back to friends' text messages or any of that. No Netflix. No, they're just laser in. And I always look at that like, man, that's so amazing because I can do that for maybe like an hour. And then after that, I'm like, okay, like I gotta get up, walk around, stretch my legs, wiggle my toes, like something. Um,
Gotcha,
I
gotcha.
I also at any given time am working on like 5 different projects, so
Mm,
I don't have the I won't say luxury, but I can't just focus on one thing. I mean, I can focus on one thing, for that couple of hours, but I can't say, okay, this week this is the focus.
right, right. That's a good point because that's a challenge because in some business types, it can be just one, one main thing, one main product, one main focus. But in others, it could be 4 or 5 different areas that
Mm-hmm.
your business goes into, and you have to kind of keep all of them up to date,
Yeah.
simultaneously. So you have to be able to give laser focus for a period of time and then go to the next one and the next one and just keep them all in mind. So it could be kind of a juggling act as opposed to just focusing on one thing in one lane. So, what would you say you like most about being an entrepreneur?
Flexibility. I like being able to make my own schedule. I like being able to, if I want to work one day hard and I want to work from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., I do that. And in the next 2 days, I don't work at all. Like I can do that as an entrepreneur. Um, Example, when the Olympics were here a few weeks back, I hadn't planned to take a week of not really working, but I was able to do it. And, people weren't knocking down my door or blowing up my email. People
Gotcha.
also understood. They were like, oh, it's the Olympics. I'll come back to you in 2 weeks. I'm not doing it right. So I like that flexibility that I have to be able to work really hard or to be able to pull back.
Gotcha. And what would you say you like least about being an entrepreneur?
It all depends on me. If I don't work, I don't eat. And that gets tough. Sometimes I just want to take some time off and do nothing. But I can't do that for long. I
Mm-hmm.
don't have like, oh, let me take a week off and, use my PTO. There is no PTO. There is none of that. So that part, like it all depends on me. And I can't blame anyone else if something doesn't work, if something hasn't been done. It's all
Do you have a when you look at your business, do you sit down and make like okay, this is where I want to be in 3 years from now or 5 years from now? Do you have a 3 year or 5 year plan in the future of where you see your business growing into?
I want it to still be a business. So I see that. I am moving more into group trips. And while I don't think I would plan trips from, start to finish and do the marketing and things like that, there are enough travel agencies that do that
Um,
kind of thing.
uh-huh.
So I want to work more with them. So people like, all right, we have 15 people that want to come to Paris, plan out 4 days for us. Like I want to do that as opposed to plan for a day, push it on social media to get those people to buy into it. Yeah,
Got
I
you.
don't want to do that part. Also,
Got
I
you.
have some other ideas for places that I want to take people. or,
Mm.
different places places that I want to promote and explore so people can go visit those places. France is amazing as a country. There's so much more to see than just Paris. So I really want to do more promotion with the rest of the country.
Okay. Wonderful, wonderful. Do you ever see yourself training someone else to do what you do or to grow your business, expanding it by bringing someone else on?
I thought about that, and like one day I would like to do that. At this point, I don't know what that would look like, but yeah, that would be. I I would definitely like to explore that in the future.
Okay. Wonderful, wonderful. Well, thank you so much for being with us today. We always like to close out
You're
with
welcome.
four personal questions, little fun questions, just so our audience to get to know the person, Tanisha, a little better.
Okay.
So I'm going to start with the first one. What would be your favorite or dream place to travel to?
Ooh. Um. Man, that's tough. Because it's a few places. Like I keep hearing about Bali, Indonesia.
Uh-huh.
So that's high, very chill, very tranquil. Um, I'm not the biggest beach person, so I think of all these other islands. I'm like, that would be fun for like 20 minutes, so that would work. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Bali. That's We'll go with that being the dream. And just go to a bunch of spas.
Okay, wonderful. If you could meet anyone from any time, who would that person be?
Ooh, one person.
Mhm.
I think I would want to meet Dr. Martin Luther King to just be like,
Mm,
man, how was it to deal with everything you dealt with and keep going? Like, I can't imagine somebody, I mean, I can imagine, like being so focused and so
mhm.
sure of your cause and what you were saying and so locked into that that no matter what, you are getting up on these stages, you are going to these churches, you are putting forth these marches because you were like, no, this is what I'm supposed to do. That conviction, I would absolutely want to talk about.
Mm, wonderful, wonderful. Okay, the next one. What was your favorite childhood game?
My family's big on board games, so it's a board game called Shoots and Ladders. We would have
Ah,
our family time. We did Shoots and Ladders. I love that game. I
yes, I
love
know
it.
that game. Yes,
Yeah,
yes. Okay, and the very last one. What is your favorite meal or food?
it's just tough because I like to eat. um, so here, okay, I'm gonna give you two. I like the way steak frites are prepared here. So steak and fries is always the winner here. And I really like duck. The way they do a duck breast with that crispy skin, and then sometimes they do
Oh,
a light sauce. So it'd be hard sell for me to pick between those two, but steak or duck are
okay.
winners for me.
Now, do you like pastries?
Oh my goodness, I love pastry. Woo!
Do you have a favorite French pastry? Now, that's me right there.
Yes, favorite French pastry is lemon tart. So tarte de citron with the meringue at the top. That's my favorite because I like the creaminess of the meringue, but then the tartness of the lemon. That is that's my
Oh,
number one.
oh, that
Yeah.
sounds wonderful. That just sounds wonderful.
So good.
Well,
So good.
thank you so much, Tanisha. We
Thank,
appreciate
thank
you
you.
being here with us. It's been a joy. You have given us so much wonderful information. We loved learning about your business journey and how you live it with joy every day. That's just wonderful to hear. So thank you for being with us.
Not a problem. It was a pleasure for me. Thank you so much.